Greetings to all my fellow Vincentian and the wider world. I am going to provide you with 100% proof of how the copyright of our environmental impact assessment study for our diamond sand dredging project was stolen. Our company name is All Stone Products Company Limited. On Thursday, the 7th of February 2019, in Parliament, our chairman, Mr. Christopher Camplin, heard Senator Julian Francis inviting persons in the private sector to get involved in stone mining and also to provide sand for our construction industry. Because of the booming construction industry in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, these materials were in great demand, and plastering sand presently taken from drip would have to close down soon. The decision was made that the government would stay out of importing sand, but will leave it up to the private sector to provide sand and to sell the sand.
We have interested parties, but I put it public and asked persons to indicate their interest in setting up this quarry. We have the land. 40 years of mining is in that stone, honorable member for North Leeward. 40 years minimum of mining. So, Mr. Speaker, please, I want the public to understand what we are talking about. Importation of sand. We can't be building beaches and raping the beach, building hotels and raping the beach of the sand, Mr. Speaker. We can't be doing it. We have to provide the sand. If we do not get into aggregate construction, I guarantee you we have to import aggregate in this country. Yeah. But I am warning us, if we do not get into that area of investment, we will have to import aggregate to carry out this construction boom.
A group of persons, all Vincentian, came together and answered that call by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We finally established a company called All Stone Products Company Limited. We registered our company and obtained our certificate of incorporation on the 13th of March 2020. The company's number is 0780 of 2020. The name of our shareholders are as followed. Chairman, Mr. Christopher Camplin. Other members are Mr. Cameron Cadogan, Mr. David John, Mr. Eric John, Mr. Foster Saunders. We took up those two invitations from our government and visited Senator Julian Francis' office for a meeting in the first quarter of 2019 after the call was made. We told him of our interest in mining the loose Rabaca material coming down from the volcano when heavy rain fall and wash it down from the mountain slopes. The Rabaca material came from the volcano and is deposited at the Richmond leeward side of the island. Senator Julian Francis invited us to visit Larraquai. Our company realized that that location was not suitable for long-term mining. We searched and found 3 separate dry river tributaries at Richmond between Larraquai and Walliaboo. The photos of these are on the screen. Only when heavy rain falls, it washes down this material at Richmond. We returned to Senator Julian Francis with these new findings. He then instructed our company to get an environmental assessment study done for those 3 locations. Our company proceeded to hire Dr. Ronald Murray to do that study. We lodged it at the Physical Planning Office on March the 30th, 2020. It was approved on Monday, December 7, 2020 by the Physical Planning Board. of St. Vincent. It took 9 months before it was approved. That was a brief layout of one of 2 projects. Now, in this second project, we hired Dr. Murray a second time. On Monday, 1st of February 2021, I, Christopher Camplin, chairman of Allstone Products Company Limited, personally drove Dr. Murray in my vehicle from my home at Diamond, time 6:30 a.m., to Sandy Bay on the windward side of the island. I point out to him from the river tributaries along the east coast on the entire windward side of the country, all the material from numerous volcano explosive eruption over many years. That sand had piled up under our ocean floor offshore all the way down to Brighton Diamond. I know that to be a fact because I minded Rabaka material at the Georgetown Rabaka River with my excavator tractor, loading trucks for over 5 years. Our company realized that there was a very large deposit of millions of tons of sand there under the rough ocean floor on our east coast. This was produced from our volcano. We concluded that it would be much cheaper to use our own sand and not import sand at the very high price of $112 a cubic yard, as Minister Gomri said in his budget speech in Parliament in March 2021.
Plastering sand was imported since last year, and it is stored at Otley Hall. And that product is available to the public at a cost of $112 per cubic yard. Also, washed sand from the Rabaka mill is available to construction at a cost of $55 per cubic yard.
At present, we pay $14 for 1 cubic yard of sand. So our company hired Dr. Murray to do a complete EIA study because we were looking at the possibility for our company to use a dredge ship to dredge the sand way out at sea on the ocean floor. Dr. Murray told us that we would have to get a dive done way out under the ocean to see what is there in 2 locations, off Diamond and off Bayaboo. He advised that we should obtain also the exact GPS coordinates where the sand is located, that our ship would dredge up that sand from off the ocean floor. Dr. Murray said we would have to get a dive done, and a professional company who had the equipment for such big task was Serenity Dives in Vincent and the Grenadines. Their address is at Blue Lagoon Hotel, Rathamil. After discussion with this company, we all agreed that they would do the dive for us. On Friday, March the 5th, 2021, our company paid this company for the 2 dives, and to obtain all the necessary information Mr. Murray instructed them to obtain for the study. The dive was done on Saturday the 13th of March 2021. After the dive was completed, all the photos and GPS coordinates with all that was required was given to Dr. Murray to complete our study. He finished it on Tuesday the 6th of April 2021, and we collected it on that same day and lodged that study at the Physical Planning Department on Wednesday the 7th of April 2021. The Physical Planning Department took 45 days before they sent it for advertisement for 2 weeks on Friday, May 21st, 2021, in the Searchlight newspaper. This is that entire document presented to you from page 1 to 46. You will clearly see the great abundance of mountain of sand under our ocean floor, stretched from Diamond to Black Point in Georgetown. In this study, you will clearly see we have solved the problem that the government was pleading for private investors to come forward and get involved in providing crushed stone and sand for our construction industry in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now see in page 11, photos, figure 2.3.3, a sand deposit, coastal shelf around Diamond, and the GPS number is 1383.46191.6.96W. The exact coordinates of where to find this sand way out at sea under the ocean floor. See also page 43 of our study. See also page 22, the land location at Diamond, boundary next to the landfill to be used for washing the salt from the sand with fresh water from the Diamond River. See on page 9, we wanted to begin operation on July of 2021. Our company also asked the Physical Planning Board for a 30-year lease. This is proof from the EIA study that was done. See also the photos on page 8 for operating range north to south from Black Point to Milligan Bay at Diamond. Also see on page number 11, a clear and beautiful photos of sand at shelf off Bible with GPS coordinates. And on same page, photos of sand at Diamond and GPS coordinates of the exact location where to find it. Now, this photo was taken on Monday, February 1st, 2021. On that morning, those two only shoe prints on that shoreline in the sand, one is belonging to chairman of the company, Mr. Christopher Camplin, and the other one is belonging to Dr. Murray. He stopped and turned around to take the photo of the old sand dome. This location is what you will call a dead end. People do not go to that location. That's why I can say with 100% proof to whom those footprints belonging to. Also see on page 40 to 42 from March 16th to April 1st, 2021, Dr. Murray interviewed different stakeholders at different government departments to get their view on this project on the behalf of the company All Stone Products Company Limited. Question posed to Solid Waste representative on page number 42. What concern do you have about this project? What environmental or social challenge do you see resulting? What should the assessment consider? Answer from Solid Waste representative on Wednesday, the 24th March at 9:15 a.m. 2021. This was his answer. The Solid Waste Authority would like to ensure that there remain a buffer between the solid waste fence and any adjacent activities. We are uncertain of the space demand by this new entity, how it will possibly impact the landfill. As you can clearly see in our study, our company made no reply. Page number 42. The same question posed to the Land and Surveyor representative on the behalf of the Allstone Products Company Limited on Thursday, the 1st of April 2021, time 8:45 a.m. His answer was, "This is new to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, has never seen done. Sand on the seabed is dynamic, so a seabed lease for a single area is not the best option. If you are looking at the East Coast, then some other arrangement would be required, possibly royalties on the amount of sand deposit on shore. The developers should submit a proposal to planning for approval in principle. If the planning approve, it would then be sent to cabinet for their approval. This is mining as opposed to quarrying, so the quarry board may not be relevant here. This sand will have a high degree of salt. What is the developer's plan to address the salt? Would the water in the Diamond River be enough for washing that sand?" See in page 20 of our study, Lodge at Physical Planning, Wednesday the 7th of April. See clearly our study when our dive was done on March 13th, 2021. The divers explain what they saw and did while they compiled their information. On page 20, under biodiversity, not much marine life was observed along the coast. Some floating seaweed and an occasional fish were observed at the time of diving. On March 13th, 2021, 1 of 2 miles offshore, the divers reported seeing schools of fish, different species, and small patches of seagrass. And on page 27, at the time of this assessment, March 2021, the divers surveying the area between Baibu and Diamond found no evidence of any fish congregating in the area. So now, the Allstone Products Company Limited will provide 100% proof that the government rejected our project proposal and our environmental and social impact assessment study and approve the proposal from ACON, which use the same information from our study in their environmental and social impact assessment study. This was done to get the sand to fill the 16 acres for backfilling to build a new Kingston port. The environmental and social assessment for the dredging of sand from the waters of St. Vincent reclamation work for the new Kingston port was lodged at the Physical Planning Department on Thursday, the 7th of July 2022. It was first approved of Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves and then moved to the Physical Planning Board to be stamped and signed by the Secretary at the Physical Planning Office. It was stamped and signed on August 2022, just in 42 days. On page 13, in figure 3, in ACON Environmental and Social Impact Assessment, see the photos of sand and GPS exact location where to find that sand. Here is proof on page 11 for the Allstone Products Company Limited study, which went to the physical planning on Wednesday, the 7th of April 2021. Also, on page 13, figure 4, sand dome, the 2 shoe print in the photo was taken on the morning of February the 1st, 2021, one belonging to Mr. Christopher Camplin, chairman of the Allstone Products Company Limited, and the other belonging to Dr. Murray. He stopped and turned around and took that photo. I call this one, they are caught even copying my footprint in the sand. On page 23, figure 7 on Acon study, there is a photo of the surface water condition, which was originally in our study. They copy the wrong photo. This photo is off Bible and not at Diamond. See proof in Allstone Products Company study, page 19, figure 4.1 and 2, surface water at Diamond and Bible. Also on page 23 of Acon study, under number 4.1, they said dive condition in March 2021. See in page 27, Allstone Products Company Limited study, see proof in the time of this assessment, March 2021, diving the area between Bible and Diamond. On page 26 in Acon study, number 4 of 2, occasional fish were observed at the time of dive in March 13th, 2021 at a distance of 1 to 2 kilometers offshore. On page 20 in the Allstone Products Company Limited, see proof occasional fish were observed at the time of diving on March 13th, 2021 at a distance of 1 to 2 miles offshore. We had miles, they changed it to kilometers. They copy everything, word, month, and day, and the year. On page 47 in Acon study, question to Mr. Wilson, National Parks, Rivers, and Beaches Authority, date March 16th, time 3:30 p.m. On page 46, the same question to Mr. Isaacs of Fisheries, date March 24th, 11 a.m. On page 49 in Acon study, Mr. Quao, representative Solid Waste, March 24th, time 9:15 a.m. On page 50 in Acon study, Mr. Keith Francis of the Land and Surveyors Department, April 1st, time 8:45 a.m. They copy everything, word, month, and day, and the year. On September 30th, 2021, the Physical Planning Board met and gave their decision on our Diamond Sand Dredging project. I, Christopher Camplin, went to Miss Hall's office the following day, on October the 1st, 2021. I was told she had not reported to work on that day. So I returned on Monday, October the 4th, 2021. Miss Hall invited me into her office and told me that our company's project was not approved. Among other things discussed, I asked for the documents we had presented so we could make what necessary correction in order that we should get it approved. Miss Hall said to me, we cannot get back our documents. Now, that answer raised a big red flag in my mind. If Cabinet could not find anything good in our study to approve it, why then would they still want to keep it? I asked her if we could get in writing the reason why our project was not approved. She said she had forgot her file at home. Still, in conversation, I was also told that Ms. Soso, who at the time was the chairman of the planning board said, "Don't care what we say or do, our project will not be approved." So we never receive a reason from Cabinet. The main reason for making an application at the Public Works Office in Kingston was for us to obtain a mining license. On Monday the 24th of February 2020, we were called to a meeting with the mining board, now re-established after having been dormant for a long time. The next year, on Wednesday the 24th of March 2021, the board convened. Present at the meeting were Chairman Mr. Ada Nelson, PS for Public Works, Ms. Grant, PS for Ministry of Health, a representative of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Electricity Service, VINLEC, and the chairman of the Allstone Products Company Limited, Mr. Christopher Camplin. I was told by the chairman that our company was the first to be called to a meeting after the board was re-established. After that was completed, the chairman told me our company will be granted a mining license. However, after weeks of waiting for the license, we heard that Renault Company had gotten their license and had started their mining operation in Richmond. I called the chairman and he told me that Cabinet stopped giving mining license for the Richmond area. Our first letter to Cabinet was on Monday the 28th of February 2022. Our company then wrote to Cabinet asking God to be a witness for us between the Cabinet members that they would be just and fair and give our company our mining license. So after this, a second letter was sent to Cabinet by our company, making an apology to Senator Julian Francis. This letter was dated Tuesday, the 15th of March, 2022, and the very next day, on Wednesday, the 16th of March, 2022, I received a call from Senator Julian Francis. That is after Cabinet had accepted our apology at their Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the 16th of March, 2022. In the evening, on that same day, Senator Julian Francis called me and said to me, "We will give your company the mining license and the lease on the lands at Richmond for the Richmond Loose Rabaca mining project, which our company had applied for since Tuesday the 24th of March 2020 and was approved by Cabinet and stamped and signed by the Planning Board Secretary on Monday the 7th of December 2020. It took 9 months to approve it, and up to this day, the Prime Minister, who is the Chairman of Cabinet, never signed to the approval for the lease of the lands and our mining license for our Richmond project at those 3 dry rivers territories at Richmond to mine loose Rabaca material. Please see for yourself how deceitful they are to their own people. Fellow Vincentians and other interesting stakeholders, do you remember that on the 11th of March 2022, when the Prime Minister and his cabinet members went in full force to defend Renault Group of Companies, the St. Lucian-based firm, to set up their quarry and give them 30 years lease on 58.8 acres of land in Richmond, and that agreement was signed in April 2021. Please, I will like you to see for yourself. Since December 7, 2020, 5 months before Renault Group of Company the Prime Minister, Chairman of Cabinet, gave approval for our company to mine loose Rabaca material from 3 dry river territories in Richmond, and up to this day refused to give us our mining license and the lease for the lands at Richmond. Our company, Allstone Products Company Limited, professionally and quite businesslike wrote Cabinet a total of 4 letters on different issues, and all their response were by phone calls, never in writing, so no Vincentian with passport could hold them to the promise they make, because they will say they never give it in writing, so they will not be truthful to their promises. So this is the way they are treating their own Vincentian people, and they say they love us, and yet they are not giving us a fair chance, and that's why our company have decided to let our nation and the world know the full truth of our project, that this government called Vincentians to get involved in providing for urgent use to build our country. As Vincentians, we do so, and the Prime Minister turned around and blocked our company's approval and award a contract to a foreign company, Acon, which used information from out of our study. Our sand was taken from us and sold for $20 million. Vincentians, our Prime Minister went to Ethiopia on September the 8th, 2025. In his speech there, he spoke about reparation for our enslaved foreparents. He never talked about looking for business investors from there. But as soon as he left Ethiopia, he went straight to England to speak to investors who want to do business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I can guarantee you that when they write to the Prime Minister, Cabinet, the Cabinet is going to reply in writing. I am 100% sure of that. That's how you do professional business. But when Vincentians write, we are treated like slaves by the Prime Minister, Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is what I am seeing. This was the behavior of those who came and took away our foreparents' Garifuna lands, then took some of them to Baliso and left them there to suffer and starve to death. They then enslaved the others, Prime Minister. From what we are clearly seeing here, it is that you have clearly aligned yourself with those who have enslaved our foreparents in the past, and foreign investors receive all the best business opportunities in our country, while Vincentians get the crumbs that fall on the floor from them. So, I ask you again, Prime Minister, please tell my company and our nation, why did you block our diamond sand dredging project when it came to you and your cabinet to be approved? After all our hard work and thousands of dollars we had to spend to get our feasibility study for this large project, you have not given us any answer. But lo and behold, we found it months after. God provided us on August 2022. Cabinet gave approval to Acon to drench the sand off Diamond and off Argyle after those documents went back to Physical Planning Board to be stamped and signed by the Secretary, and Prime Minister gave Acon the approval for sand dredging project. So we discovered that our very important information was stolen out of our study of photos and sand under the ocean floor with our exact GPS location to find the sand, and Prime Minister give and sign the approval for ACON Sand Dredging project to fill the New Kingston Port project. This is proof again why many Vincentians remain poor. So we have to continuously beg you, please let us remind you again. On February 11th, 2019, Senator Julian Francis made a call in Parliament for private investors to get involved in stone and to provide sand for our construction industry because they are urgently needed. Our company answered that call. We visited Julian Francis' office in the first quarter of 2019 after that call was made and started the process of searching to provide those material. My next visit to Miss Hull 11 months later on August the 31st, the reason why I visited Miss Hull's office was because Senator Julian Francis called me on that same month of August 30th, 2022, and asked me if he could have a look at our diamond sand dredging project. I told him I would first speak to my shareholders of my company and then call him after speaking with them. That being so, I visited Miss Hall's office the following day after that call was made and asked her this time for a photocopy of our diamond sand dredging project. She took me to one of her workers at the front desk and instructed him to give me a photocopy of our company's project file. When I returned 2 hours later for the photocopy file, he said to me that their photocopy machine had broken down. So the file was given to me to get photocopy and I returned the file at a later date to him. I returned a phone call to Senator Julian Francis that same day after receiving the copy of our file from Physical Planning Office. I told him that our shareholders said to let the cabinet members know they first have to fulfill that promise they made to our company to give us our mining license and the lease of the lands at Richmond for that other main project at Richmond, which they promised us 6 months ago. He said to me, no, we cannot get things done so fast, and he ended the call immediately. His behavior raised another big red flag in my mind. After close examination, we realized that in this way, the members of cabinet would say our company gave them the right of way to use our copyright information from out of our company's environmental and social impact assessment study for sand dredging off the east coast of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Please see, after close examination, over time, the Senator Julian Francis called me on August 30th, 2022. Again, please see the date that the Physical Planning Board Secretary stamped and signed the approval for ACON to dredge sand off Diamond Argyle. It was done on August 2022. As one can clearly see, they had already approved of ACON to dredge sand in the same area we have applied for over a year ago, and we had conducted the environmental and social assessment study for sand dredging off the east coast of St. Vincent in that very area, and ACON had made their application using information from out of our study. We are 100% sure we never said yes to them to give them our diamond dredging information from out of our study. See page 8 on map. red line going from Diamond to Black Point in Georgetown. So we never turn over our study to him because they refuse to fulfill an agreement that they themselves made in March 16, 2022. See 100% proof of that project. We receive approval from Cabinet, stamped and signed by the Physical Planning Board Secretary since Monday, 7th of December 2020, and up to this day, the Prime Minister, who is the Chairman of Cabinet, had refused to give us our mining license and the lease of the lands for the 3 dry river tributaries at Richmond to mine loose Rabaca material that come down from the volcano. Maybe it is because we are born Vincentians with Vincentian passport. I just do not understand. Only the Prime Minister and his cabinet members can answer this riddle. And they keep saying they want to see young Vincentians develop themselves and their families. Please do not forget this was just one of 2 projects our company embarked on. The first one was Richmond project. The second was the Diamond Sand Dredging project. After the call was made in Parliament on Monday, the 11th of February 2019, by this government, we answered their call for help. Please pay very close attention to this second project. This is called the Diamond Sand Dredging project. After our company submitting our project plans on Wednesday, 7th April 2021, and the Physical Planning Board Department took it to the Cabinet for them to look at and to give their approval, the Prime Minister, as Chairman of Cabinet, and all his elected members of government at their Cabinet meeting, they all saw our study, but they copied out our study the most important information where to find that sand. Please see in page 11 of our study photo of piles of sand under the ocean floor and the exact GPS to find the sand in our study. Please see the date we lodged our study. It was April the 7th, 2021. Also, please see on page 13 in Acon study a total of 11 months after ours when Acon lodged theirs on July the 7th, 2022. The Prime Minister, Chairman of Cabinet, and all of his ministers of Cabinet agree to reject our information out of our study and approve that same information for Acon. Then it was over to the Physical Planning Board, stamped, and was signed by the Secretary on August 2022. Acon got their approval with the most important information of where to find that sand under the ocean floor. The sand to fill the 16 acres of land to build a new port, and copy from out of our study. Please do you remember, see in our study in page 6, 2019, when Senator Julian Francis made this call to private investors, he took the owners of Renault group of companies from St. Lucia to see the stone. Then he gave it to them on a golden platter for them to sell stone to the new Kingston port and construction, plus all others who wish to buy their stone. Our company did our hard work, spent thousands of dollars, searched and found the sand. Please see Renault Group of Companies answer to Senator Julian Francis call on 11th of February 2019 in Parliament to provide stone
We have interested parties, but I put it public and asked persons to indicate their interest in setting up this quarry. We have the land. 40 years of mining is in that stone, honorable member for North Leeward. 40 years minimum of mining. A man came from St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker, and I took him down there to see the land, like I've taken other persons from Guyana, Trinidad. In these matters, I go myself too, because I know what is there. Mr. Speaker, this isn't a joke. The man may have had about 6 orgasms walking around this stone. He was so excited, Mr. Speaker, about the quality of stone and the extent of the stone. The fella operates in St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker, 4 crushers in one location.
We provided the sand after that same call, and Cabinet gave Renault Group of Company a 30-year lease to mine stone. Our company asked for 30-year lease also to dredge sand where there is located billions of tons of sand under our rough ocean floor on the east coast of St. Vincent. But when it came to us, Vincentian, you said in this video clip about that same sand that you got $20 million from Aecon, it is state sand.
And we have negotiated with them for $20 million in order to dredge. We have a draft agreement.
Aecon has to pay the government of $20 million. $20 million.
They started
Is that EC or US?
EC. They started at $1 million, and we reached there.
Well, go back now and tell Renault Group of Companies it is state stone. If not, give our company our $20 million, Prime Minister. We are waiting, reminding we have God to be our witness. We heard you say in your speech on October the 25th, when the port was open, persons are asking to sell them that same sand that our company found. Remember, in our study, we said first that sand is for local people to use for the building of their houses and will be cheaper for them when you were importing it, and our people were paying $112 for a cubic yard. That's why we know the sand was there, and we could provide our own sand for our people much cheaper than when your government imported. When those imported sand entered our country, we experienced a serious breakout of snails and slugs, especially around the area where the sand was imported and stored. In our study, we gave warning that this would happen because it happened in Bequia. See in page 14 of our study. See our proof in our study on page 9 and 11 and 43. So why do you not say to Renault Group of Companies it is state stone and take it back from them? We are all local shareholders, born Vincentians, who found the sand, which our Prime Minister said in this video interview. They searched all over St. Vincent and Grenadines and could not find any suitable material for the filling of the new Kingston project.
There were several alternative sites investigated around St. Vincent and the Grenadines as potential source, but they were ruled out for one reason or another.
But when we found it, our Prime Minister, as Chairman of Cabinet, and his other members of Cabinet blocked our approval and give it to Aecon. Maybe it is because we are all Vincentian with Vincentian passport that they blocked our project and prevent us from earning $20 million. Prime Minister, only you can answer that. Please, Prime Minister, our company has invited God to be a witness between our company and the Prime Minister as Chairman of Cabinet and his members of Cabinet that you financially compensate our company, including ACON, pertaining to the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Amen. I will remind the Prime Minister on September the 26th in your UN speech, you quote from the Bible in the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8, New King James Version. God say we must be just with our fellow men. So we are looking for you to show by example, Prime Minister. We are asking for the $20 million that you said the Dren Sand is worth with interest to compensate us for our intellectual property, which was submitted and rejected by your cabinet, yet the same was approved for ACON a year later. And let ACON know, Prime Minister, we have a law in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A little example for all my audience. Understanding in our law in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that when anyone steals things what hard-working farmers planted, his produce, or from any other persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and sell it to any persons or company, that company will be charged for receiving stolen goods. So ACON, they will have to pay compensation also to our company. Please, Prime Minister, remember to let ACON know they broke our law by receiving the sand, which was rightfully ours to mine. Prime Minister, how could you keep forgetting these very important things about our law? And that is your ministry. Man, something like it wrong with your brain. This is 100% proof. Listen to the truth from what the Prime Minister said about this same sand. In this interview recording, who can give the approval for sand dredging? Cabinet only.
Now, so planning did their work, but it's our resource. It's the state resource. Planning can't give you permission for that. And planning gave them a conditional permit.
Our company's first letter to Cabinet asking God to be a witness for our company that the members of Cabinet would not deal with us unjustly. You can clearly see the Prime Minister as chairman and other members did not take this warning seriously, and I will warn them again. God is still watching over the affairs of man. So do the just and right thing to us, PM. From your speech on the 11th of March 2022 in Richmond, you will say sorry. Sort it out.
Meant to be against the project. So there's a question. You say sorry about that and you sort that out. But that is not the way the ULP operates generally. And if you make a mistake, you have to be a big man, a big woman, and say sorry about that. And you sort it out.
Now you have the opportunity to compensate us $20 million. See once again in page 8 on our map, a red line going from Diamond to Black Point in Georgetown. Range from north to south. I will remind you that our project was given to physical planning since the 7th of April 2021. Then it was passed over to Cabinet for their approval. We did not know that this is the process until just over a year ago. So from since we lodged our project at the Physical Planning Board since the 7th of April 2021, Cabinet had access to it. Third letter to Cabinet to offer our government 5% from sand and to have a meeting with our Prime Minister, which he never entertained us. We realized after, as time passed, the entire cabinet members were involved in the blocking of our project, so they never accepted our invitation for a meeting.
This recording is being done by Mr. Christopher Camplin, Chairman of the Allstone Products Company Limited, and the date, Monday the 29th of May 2023, and it's just approximately after 11 a.m. in the morning. You can recognize a gen ship is extracting sand right here at Diamond as it's approaching towards the Argyle location. Just proof of where we are. We have some visitors right alongside here. And this is the wall for the landfill at Diamond. So we are going to turn our camera to left, and if you can observe very closely, the crane that lifts the suction for the ship that is sucking the sand from under the ocean off the seabed. It's off to the side, which is on the right hand of the ship as it approaches going to Argyle. As we turn the camera slowly to the left, my left, giving you a view also of the location where the ship is located. This is the septic facility that is provided by the solid waste company. So I'm right on the hill overlooking the Diamond, overlooking the Diamond Sea. So this is the location belonging to solid waste, and that's the stadium in the background. So I'll turn the camera once again to the my right, and you can observe where the ship is dredging. Same location that that the Allstone Products Company would have made a request for to the planning department, and we were refused. Proof also, but eventually they gave Acon the opportunity for.
We do hope you fully understand our claim and that it brought clarity to you about the powers of cabinet pertaining to these major projects. Thank you very much.